So we're going to measure this inside measurement here, and we're going to add 2.5 inches for each side. So that would be 5 inches that we're going to add. So we're 58.5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 63.5 is the size that we want. So I'm going to write that down. So your apron underneath your window stool will be a 1/2 inch shy on each side. So we're going to take 1 inch off of the measurement for the apron. All right, so we're going to cut our window stool 63.5. And our trim underneath is going to be a 1/2 inch smaller, so it's going to be 62.5, and we're going to have to do returns because of the way this trim is. So we're going to go 62.5. We're going to cut a couple returns so that they'll fill the ends, which are just 45 pieces cut off flush to right here is what we're doing. So we're cutting these 45s off flush with the back here so that we can use them as returns on the end of this apron. So we're setting the saw up to rip this window stool here. You just want to be, the blade, you only want it about no more than 1/4 to a 1/2 inch above your material. And we are going to put this on a 10-degree angle. So you want to measure this backside and add 1.5 inches to get your 6 1/8, which we already did. We did already rip this, so we got the sizing for this right now. And we're going to go ahead and center this up 2 1/2 and 2 1/2. Okay, that looks pretty good. We're going to take our square, which I like to use a combination square. You want to set it so that you're pretty close to the depth of this wall, you know, maybe just a little short of it. You don't want it to be too long. So that looks pretty good. We're a little short back there. And then as you can see, we are hitting on the front side here, and there's a gap in the back. So I'm going to pull it away a little bit, just the thickness of the lead here, and mark the front. And then the back, I'm going to have to leave at 3/16 of an inch for it to work right. And then I'm going to measure my front, which looks like we're 4 1/2, and it's nice and straight right here on the front. So that I can pretty much just square it over. This one, because it was crooked, I am gonna, connect my dots here. And as you can see, that will match what we got there. So we just want to make sure that when we switch sides that we don't slide this window stool, because it will affect our measurements. So we're going to do the same thing here. You can see there's a slight angle, so we're going to make a mark out here. Add the little bit that looks like about 1/8 on there like that. We're going to measure our distance. Looks like we're a little over 4 1/2. This looks nice here, so we're just going to square this off. We don't have to do anything special on that one. This one we're going to connect our dots. And you can use a square off the back side, which works about the same. As you can see, it's tight on the front and there's a gap in the back. So whichever works best for you, as you can see, you know, we've got a little angle going there, so we got that set up. So that's another option that you can do. And so now we're going to go out and cut it. Because those have bullnose corners, we took a piece of pole material that we use for our shelving, and we're going to draw a circle here on both sides. Okay, now we're ready to cut. So when I cut, this needs to be straight on this front side, so we need to just go ahead and but on this other side, it's helpful if you get a little bit of an angle, about that 10-degree angle like we did on the back, and I just usually just lift it. And we want to make sure that we route this on the end so that we get this match here on the top and the bottom, so that it looks nice and round when it's done. Okay. I'm just testing the router out here. That looks good. So we're going to route it there, turn it over. Get a route there. The other side routed. You can do this before or after on this, a little harder after. I'm going to finish cutting this out. Like I said, we want to make sure we're straight on this side, get a little bit of angle on this side. The angle just helps with getting it around the drywall. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and slide this in here. And we're going to, you want to slide it in from one side, give it a little tap. So we don't, it should fall down really easily. If it does not, then you could break it. So we went ahead and tapped it down. And it's not, as you can see, it's not quite going back. We're not tight back here. So the measurement I had was a little off, so I'm going to have to scribe it a little bit on the front side right here and a little bit here to get it to go back. Looks like my radius is a little off. So I'm going to go ahead and make a mark right here, because you can see there's a little gap right there, but for whatever reason I'm not getting enough right here. So I'm going to cut that like that. And I think because there's a fair amount of gap right there, I'm going to have to cut a little bit on the front here too. So I'm going to make a little mark there. I'm going to do the same on this side. It looks like I didn't quite get enough, so we're going to go like this, and we should be able to cut that, and it should work. Okay, so now we trimmed it. As you can see, it looks very nice around each side. It's fairly tight to the back. We can push that tight, and we're looking good over here. So we're going to go ahead and nail it with our gun. And one thing when we're nailing, we want to make sure that we are even on the back side here. And it looks to me like we're really going downhill here. Yeah, we're like an inch over here. We're 3/4 over here and almost 7/8 in the middle. So we're going to want to bring it up over on this side over here. So So it's good to bring it up with something like that, get it around 3/4, and you know, and I'm going to stick my chisel in here on this one, so we're about 3/4 on all of these, so when I nail it, we're not having to fight with it as much. So now I'm going to go ahead and tack this down. You want about 3 nails across these is usually more than enough. You got to be careful that this doesn't get sloped back. And you want to check these for square to make sure that this is square right here with the back. If it's up or down, we're not really doing it correctly. So that's square there, and we can check it over on this side too. And I got actually a piece of mud on there that's giving me a false reading, but there we are. We're pretty good there too. So I'm going to go ahead and nail the middle. Get some nails here. So we're putting a level on here. We're not using it for the bubbles, but we're using it as a straight edge to make sure that we're straight across there. And this one looks very nicely on the backside, but we can't always just check the backside. We need to pull it out to the front to see if we're good in the front. And it's looking very nicely there. And it's not bad, actually. I think we're, there might be a little hump here in the middle, so I'm going to give it a little tap there. But we're not looking too bad today. Yeah, there it is. So that took the rock out of it. There's no more rock, so looking really nicely there. So that window stool is done. It's nice and even to the back side all the way across. Now we're going to bring this apron up here. Just want to make sure there's no obstacles in the way as far as mud or anything like that. And we should be about a 1/2 inch from each end here. So you want to just center that up. Tack it. And then we want to take our return pieces that we made earlier and put some glue on these. You notice I didn't nail it on the end there yet, so we can get it where we want it. And once I nail it, it'll kind of help clamp it in there, so I'll put a double nail here. And you just want to make sure that it's in there nicely. Nice and flush. Looks like I need another nail, because I didn't quite get it where I wanted it. So there we go, that's pretty good. And these are opposites. You need to cut these opposite, otherwise it's not going to work for you. For these returns, whoops. Okay. And that's how we do a window stool.